Welcome everyone, I am Smog, and today Shadowlands is finally here, so we finally get to play some of our favorite DPS specs and classes. And today I'm going to take you through one of mine, and that is going to be the Shadow Priest. As a reminder, guys, I do stream on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Links are going to be in the description down below. And as always, guys, if you guys do enjoy this video and you do want to see some more updates and more classes done, please make sure to hit that thumbs up button, click that subscribe button, and turn those notifications on so you know when the next video does go live. All right, guys, let's get into it. We're going to teach you everything you need to know about the Shadow Priest so that you can be successful in Shadowlands. All right, so some of the strengths of the Shadow Priest are: one, they have amazing self-healing due to their use of Vampiric Touch and Devouring Plague. They have very good talent options to adapt to many different situations, as well as they have very good sustained damage versus multiple targets. You have the option, depending on the talent you take, to provide massive AoE, and they're really good. Vampiric Embrace is really good with self-healing for utility for other groups. Weaknesses: dot management obviously requires a lot of focus. You have to do a lot of tabbing and maintaining those dots up on people. Depending on how busy and hectic it is, that can be a little bit of a problem. And lining up your cooldowns can be a little tricky, especially depending on boss mechanics. All right, so let's go through some of the recent changes for the Shadow Priest. Obviously, one of the biggest ones is Fade. Fade got a new addition to it. Originally, it would just allow you to fade out and reduce all of your threat. Now it also, in addition, will reduce the range at which enemies attack you for 10 seconds. And then, of course, all priests are now able to cast Power Word Shield, Shadow Word Death, and Shadow Word Pain. All right, so some of the new abilities that you will get at level 52, you get Mind Soothe, which soothes the target, reducing the range at which it will attack you by 10 yards. It only affects humanoid and dragonkin targets. At level 54, you're going to get Psychic Scream 2. Psychic Scream can withstand 20% more damage before it is broken. And then at level 58, you're going to get a 2-minute cooldown, and that is going to be Power Infusion, which infuses the target with power for 20 seconds, increasing your haste by 25%. All right, so let's go over the stat priority for the Shadow Priest. Number one, by far and away, it is Intellect. Intellect is going to be your primary stat, which means basically getting any type of new item level gear is going to be very, very beneficial. After that, it's going to be Haste. Haste will be your number one secondary stat, followed by Critical Strike and Mastery. Mastery will tend to be the best for single target, but Critical Strike pretty much wins out in AoE situations. And typically, it's very rare in Warcraft anymore that you have straight on single target fights. So I would recommend using Critical Strike over Mastery. Okay, as far as gems go, if you can get the Leviathan Eye of Intellect, that's going to increase your intellect. Other than that, go after the Haste gems. They're going to help you out the most because that's going to make your spells cast faster. For your chest, you're going to want Eternal Insight. That is going to increase the intellect on you by 20. Cloak, I recommend Fortified Speed because it is going to increase your stamina by 20 and speed by 30. On your bracers, you're going to want Eternal Intellect. That's going to increase the intellect on your bracers by 15. And your ring, I would recommend Tenet of Haste. That's going to increase the haste. As always, the Spectral Flask of Power is what you're going to use as your main flask. The potion, you'll want Phantom Fire. Going to send out a fiery projection that is going to deal 1,813 damage to your target. And if you're in a raid situation, obviously the Gluttonous Feast is the best one, but otherwise I would go after the Haste one, which Venomous Crown Roast Aspic. All right, so let's go through your talents for the Shadow Priest. I'm going to go through and give you the single target, a general use, as well as AoE and Mythic builds, because it is a very different build depending on what you are doing. All right, so for single target, you're going to want Fortress of the Mind. That's going to make Mind Blast and Mind Flay deal 10% more damage each, as well as generate 20% more insanity. All right, so the next tier for level 25 is going to be Body and Soul. This is one of the few ones that gives you an increase when you use your Power Word Shield. It's going to increase your movement speed by 40% for 3 seconds. All right, so level 30, I'm going to recommend Misery. So Misery makes it that every single time that you cast Vampiric Touch, it's also auto going to refresh Shadow Word Pain. This allows you to basically get a lot more cast off without having to worry about taking the time to manually refresh it. Twisted Fate is also another good option here because it does increase your damage and healing by 10%. as long as you are hitting a mob below 35% health. However, I still do recommend Misery just for its ease of use. All right, so level 35 is another option that you have. I'm going to recommend Last Word because it reduces the cooldown time on your silence by 15 seconds, and being able to interrupt spells and stuff is very, very beneficial. So that is a big reduction. If, however, you are finding yourself that you need more CC, you can use Psychic Horror, which will allow you to lock down a target. Okay, so level 40, I'm gonna go with Auspicious Spirits. Causes your shadowy apparitions to deal 15% more damage and generates 2 insanity per damage. All right, so with this one, you're going to go with Void Torrent. It is a flat 3-second cast time, does a lot of damage. Very easy to go with. Increases your haste, and also you get 60 insanity for doing so. All right, so level 50, I'm going to go with the Hungering Void. It increases the damage. It's going to put a debuff on your target and increases all the damage dealt to that target by 10%. As well as any subsequent void bolt that hits it is going to extend void form for you. All right, so that was the single target talent build. Let's go through your Mythic plus and AoE talent build. It's a little bit different depending on what you're doing. All right, so level 15 for your AoE and Mythic build, I'm going to go with Death and Madness. So this allows you to get a huge amount of insanity, and it'll also allow Shadow Word Death to reset if the target dies within a few seconds of you casting it. Just remember, if that target doesn't die, you do get that damage done to you. So just make sure you're paying attention to that. But it's very, very good in multi-target situations. All right, tier 2, level 25. Again, Body and Soul is still the clear-cut winner here. It gives you a movement speed boost by 40% for 3 seconds to your Power Word Shield. All right, so for level 30, I'm going to go with Searing Nightmare. Anytime you have more than 3 targets and you cast this thing, it is going to put a dot on all those targets, and on subsequent casts of it, it's also going to increase the damage to those targets. Again, level 35, it's really just depending on what you need. If you need CC, go Psychic Horror. If you need interrupts, go with Last Word. So level 40, I'm going to go with Shadow Crash, just because you get to basically put in a little AoE thing where you point your mouse and you fire a projectile and it's going to hit everything in that area. It's really good for Mythics, especially because Auspicious Spirits, typically your spirits don't have enough time to get to the trash before they die. All right, so level 45, I'm going to go with Mindbender. Mindbender is going to replace Shadow Fiend, and it's going to allow it to generate more insanity, and it's going to be up for much longer than the Shadow Fiend would be. All right, so this one's a little bit trickier. Level 50, Surrender to Madness is very good in Mythic Plus because you can control it, and it gives you access to another void form, basically pulling you in every 45 seconds. However, remember, if the target is not dead after 25 seconds of you casting on it, then you die. All right, so the rotation you're going to want to do, go ahead and cast Vampiric Touch, apply Shadow Word Pain, cast your Void Torrent, Shadow Crash, and Mindbender or Shadow Fiend. Use Mind Blast if you need enough insanity if you need to increase your sanity before Void Eruption. Cast Void Eruption when you have at least 40 insanity. You can do a filler with Mind Flay, cast Void Bolt, and if anytime you do not have enough insanity, do Devouring Plague, and then burn off all of your Mind Blast. All right, so your multi-target rotation is going to be cast your Shadow Fiend or Mindbender on cooldown. Cast Void Eruption whenever possible. If you're using Surrender to Madness and you know that the target's going to die within 25 seconds or not in Void form, use that. Always cast Void Bolt to keep that Hungering Void up. Cast Devouring Plague to dump your insanity. Shadow Word Death on anything that's below 20% health. If you have Shadow Crash, make sure that you're using that, and then use Mind Flay to fill in the void. So then cast Mind Blast and then use Mind Seer to fill it out. All right, so as far as legendaries go, the number one that you're going to want to choose is going to be Call to the Void. And the reason why you want Call to the Void, I'm just going to read this because it's pretty long, but just to explain what this legendary does. It's going to provide you with passive insanity generation that procs based on your current channeled Mind Flay or Mind Seer, and that if you channeled Mind Flay and you get that proc, you will spawn a Void Tendril that will cast Mind Flay on your current target for passive damage and 3 insanity gain per tick. Alternatively, if you do get a proc while channeling Mind Seer, it'll cause the Void Lasher to channel Mind Seer at your current target. It'll do passive damage and generate 1 insanity per tick. So like I said, it is a massive, massive increase to damage. That is the one I would go for. All right, so as far as Covenants, Conduits, and Soulbinds go, there's not a huge difference for the Shadow Priest. As far as Covenants go, right now it does look like Necrolord is a little bit better, maybe by about 2%, not huge. But for raiding and Mythic plush, you definitely want to go Necrolord. Your Soulbind is going to be Bonesmith Ermir. And as far as Conduits goes, you pretty much end up using the same one regardless of which covenant you choose. All right, guys, so that is going to do it for the Shadow Priest. Hope you guys are enjoying Shadowlands just as much as I am doing. Hey, leave a comment down below of what classes you would like to see me do next. And as always, guys, remember, if you did like this video, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you know when the next class video does come out, as well as any upgrades to these guides. As always, guys, remember that life is a circus. Enjoy that freak show, and I will see you guys next time.